Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. As you can see, Bitcoin's currently correcting in the 62,000 range. I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as well as breaking news. Morgan Stanley advisors that manage 5.7 trillion in client assets. Next week, their 15,000 advisors can officially solicit eligible clients BlackRock and Fidelity's Bitcoin ETFs. Let's freaking go. We'll also be discussing the Bitcoin network difficulty breaking a 3-month downtrend, marking a new all-time high, as well as breaking news. MicroStrategy's Q2 earnings reveals Bitcoin stockpile now worth $14.7 billion. Also, as of yesterday, MicroStrategy announced purchasing another $2 billion worth of the Biddy. Shout out to the Giga Chad. We'll also be discussing Trump made many promises to the Bitcoiners. Can he keep them? We'll be discussing this. And also, Trump was just interviewed and said maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion debt by handing them a little crypto check, handing them a Bitcoin. We'll also be discussing, is 95,000 or 120,000 the next likely bull target as Bitcoin traders diverge on the next Bitcoin price top. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin to explode by at least 975% to reach the ultimate price of above 700,000 per coin as per on-chain analyst Willy Woo. I'll be breaking down his timeline. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. If you are new to the channel, very important to smash the likes, subscribe, then hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Today is pod episode number 1719. I'm your host, JV, rockin' Bukele-nomics. Today, you know how we do. It's August 2nd, 2024. Lots happening in the markets. We've had a bit of a correction. Right now, we're sitting at 63,000. So let's kick it off with our market watch. You should be able to see Coin 360 on your screen. Bitcoin in the red, along with all the major cryptos. Solana, the big loser on the day, down 5%, trading at 153 bucks. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap sits at $2.22 trillion. So we're definitely on the decline there. And the Bitcoin market cap is at $1.24 trillion. We got roughly 90 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the climb at 55.6%, with the Ether dominance at 16.3%. Checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours. Monero leading the pack, which is a rarity. You don't typically see Monero leading the pack, but it's up 5% of the day, trading at $161, followed by Flare, up a modest 2%, followed by Core, up a modest 2%. Below that, very minuscule gains, 1% or less, as the majority of the alts are correcting and in the red. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get more of a visual perspective on the day. Safe to say 90 to 95% of the market bleeding and in the red. And if we zoom out on the monthly, get a broader perspective, maybe 80% in the red, 20% in the green, if that. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index. Today we're at 57 greed. Yesterday 52 neutral. Last week a 68 greed, and last month a 50, which is neutral. So there you have it, my crypto fam. Let me know where you feel the bottom will likely be. And Bitcoin long liquidations hit 300 million as Bitcoin price falls to 62 G's, baby. That's right. Here you're looking at the 15-minute chart. Bitcoin fell over $1,600 in 60 minutes yesterday, August 1st, as a wave of volatility disrupted the market. Now, TradingView showed a nightmare for long traders unfolding August 1st as Bitcoin suddenly dropped from 64 to 62.8, as you can see here in the 15-minute chart. Now, those betting on Bitcoin's recovery lost big yesterday, August 1st. However, as the downturn liquidated long positions worth 310 million amid a 24-hour total wipeout of 337 million. This is according to data from CoinGlass. More than 77 million worth of long positions have been liquidated over the past 24 hours, with 26 million being wiped out in the last 4 hours. Mind-boggling, right? Market makers are happy. The largest single liquidation occurred on the OKX crypto exchange involving ETH/USD swap worth $4 million. And for market analysts, DW, the demise of the positions was not extreme, despite significant downward moves. DW said that the market is back to experiencing low liquidity, cautioning the higher selling moving forward. Quoting him here, Mt. Gox is not behind us. It is the summer. And post Bitcoin 2024, it is back to low liquidity. So whatever selling is happening will be magnified. Meanwhile, independent analyst Mags had more of a positive outlook for the biddy, saying the price was holding above a crucial moving average support as it traded close to the upper boundary of a descending, broadening wedge. Quoting him here, the hash ribbons have also printed a buy signal, and that's a fantastic buy signal family we have covered many times on the show. According to the analyst, the current Bitcoin price action is a short-term pullback that resembles the previous instance when the ribbon turned green following by significant upward moves. Quoting him again, the price dip immediately after, followed by some consolidation and a nice V-shaped recovery. Shout out to my V fam. And as long as the price is holding above 60 G's, dips are for buying. And quoting the late great Nipsey Hussle, we connected at the bottom like the letter V. One of my favorite quotes. Of course, I'm JV. We connected at the bottom like the letter V. You already know, started from the bottom, now we here. But anyways, Bitcoin's correction on the first day of August is no surprise, as historical data reveals that the Bitcoin price tends towards weak performance in August after a volatile July. Bitcoin returns in August have historically averaged 2.2%, according to data from CoinGlass, which was tracking Bitcoin's monthly returns since 2013. And in 8 out of the 11 years, Bitcoin's price closed in August in the negative with a median return of negative 6%. Historically, an independent analyst, Karen, out of all names, that's hilarious. We got Karen, the analyst, highlighted, pointing to the sharp correction of the price of Bitcoin on the first day of August. While gold and oil prices are rising, Bitcoin isn't. Typical, something a Karen would say, right? She also noted Bitcoin ignored 100% Fed rate cut odds, which are apparently not enough to push the Bitcoin price higher. And before I pull up the live charts, a little breaking news, but it is a big one. Morgan Stanley, who advises $5.7 trillion in client assets. Next week, their 15,000 advisors can officially start to solicit eligible clients into BlackRock and Fidelity's Bitcoin ETFs. So this is going to open the door to a lot of investors getting access to Bitcoin ETFs via Fidelity and BlackRock, the two largest. So this is a pretty big deal, and this can help pump the inflows into the ETFs, and which would ultimately pump the Bitcoin price action. So there you have it, yo. And pulling up some of the live charts brought to you by TradingView via Coinbase. Here we're looking at the 1 hour right now, live and in the flesh. As you can see, we're just shy of 63,000. A lot of targets happening on the 1 hour chart. We do have a bullish target sitting north of 70,000, or I should say 69,000 level. And we do have a bottom target sitting at I'd say 60,000 level, and we do have another target sitting at $55,000. And zooming out, we'll check out the 4 hour and we'll go broader to get a broader perspective here. On the 4 hour chart, as you can see, we had those two big red candles, but we're currently correcting since then. We do have a target on the 4 hour, even though there's a rising wedge formation. There is a bottom target currently at $54,300. And zooming out a little more, here's the 1 day chart. And again, this is live and in the flesh via TradingView via Coinbase. You can see on the daily, we had that huge red candle, unfortunately, as we're currently sitting under 63 Gs. And we do have a target on the daily sitting at 47,700. And also keep in mind, we have a CME futures gap currently open at around 58.5. So some analysts are calling for us to revisit to close that gap, but we'll soon see. And looking at the most bullish chart, which is the 1 week, we still have the bullish flag formation with a big target, cup and handle target sitting just shy of $126,000. And then we're going to zoom out on the monthly to get even broader. And as you can see here, the monthly chart, we did get an itty-bitty green close for July, and we're just entering August. I'm optimistic that we can close above 70,000, potentially revisit price discovery, sitting currently at 73.8, which means once we enter 74, there's no limit to how high the Bitcoin price can soar, as there's no bottom to how low the fiat can crash. So there you have it, my crypto fam. Next story, let's discuss the difficulty hitting yet another all-time high, as the headline reads. Bitcoin network difficulty breaks 3-month downtrend to mark a new all-time high. The difficulty to create a new block on the Bitcoin blockchain increased by over 10%. August 1st, adding pressure to the rising operational costs related to the Bitcoin mining. For nearly 3 months between May 9th and July 30th, Bitcoin's network difficulty witnessed a significant decline, effectively reducing the computational power required to combine confirm Bitcoin transactions on the blockchain. And while a higher network difficulty demands higher computational power for processing the Biddy transactions, it effectively secures the network against external attacks. And as a result of the lower hash rate combined with the infrastructure upgrades, several Bitcoin miners, including Bitfarms, recorded higher monthly earnings in July compared to the previous months. However, the network difficulty shot up July 31st and eventually marked a new all-time high on August 1st at 90.66 trillion. The difficulty increased 14%, which is positioned to negatively impact miners' earnings in the near future. Pretty wild. And on the other hand, the Bitcoin network has maintained its hash rate metric for nearly 6 months at 630 exahashes per second. The hash rate is another security metric determined by the total number of the mined blocks and the relative network difficulty. And amid the growing financial pressure, Bitcoin mining firms are currently holding on to the Bitcoin rewards in hopes of selling it for a bigger profit in the near future. That's right. Speaking to Salam Khan, Marathon's chief financial officer, to better understand how the miners decide when to accumulate their Biddy and when to move them onto the market, here's what he shared. There are market dynamics that you have to consider. In the short term, the Bitcoin price could fluctuate, and your decision could be impacted as a result of that. Now, Marathon Digital currently holds 18,536 Biddies worth over $1 billion, up 48% from its 2023 holdings of 12,538. You already know they're extremely bullish. All the miners are going to be very bullish on Bitcoin, especially post-halving, like a time like this, where historically the markets have shown us post-halving, we typically rise for 18 months after the halving, which would mean bullish Q3, bullish Q4 of 2024, and a hell of a bullish 2025, hitting a cycle peak sometime the following year. Let me know if you agree with that synopsis, and let me know if you're bullish for the miners. But yeah, next story of the day, let's discuss Michael Saylor, the latest what's going on with MicroStrategy. Yesterday, breaking news, we'll start here. I put Saylor is the legend. Breaking news, MicroStrategy to raise $2 billion to buy more Bitcoin. He obviously hacked the matrix. He can get unlimited amount of money borrowed at virtually zero interest and just buy Bitcoin with it. I mean, why wouldn't he? And that's ultimately an attack against the central banking cartel. So long live the king, the one and only Saylor. And in other headlines, MicroStrategy's Q2 earnings reveals Bitcoin stockpile now worth close to $15 billion, family. So that's right. MicroStrategy purchased an additional 12,222 Bitcoin for $805 million in the second quarter of 2024, bringing its total Bitcoin holdings to 226,500 BTC, worth around $15 billion at the current price. In its Q2 earnings call, MicroStrategy posted significant losses of about $5.74 per share on the quarterly revenue of $111 million, a 7% decline year over year. The losses exceeded analyst expectations, which pegged a quarterly loss of 78 cents per share and $119 million in revenue, according to the Bloomberg survey data, as outlined here. Notably, the firm revealed a net loss of $123 million in Q2, a slight improvement from its net loss of $137 million for the same quarter of the previous year in 2023. The firm shared that its total holdings of 226,500 Bitcoin had been acquired for $8.5 billion at an average price of $36,000 per Bitcoin, which means they're almost up double their initial investment. Not too shabby. It also unveiled a new key performance indicator called the Bitcoin yield, which represents the percentage change over time in the ratio between the firm's Bitcoin holdings and its diluted outstanding shares. Diluted share outstanding include all of the company's common stocks and any additional shares created from convertible notes or exercising their stock options. And that's precisely how he's able to buy so much Bitcoin. They do something with their stocks, changing them into convertible notes. And like I said, it's like a hack of the matrix. It's a genius. MicroStrategy said its Bitcoin yield currently stands at 12.2% year to date, noting it would target a rate between 4 to 8% annually over the next 3 years. Quoting the Kabisi letter, or no, this is KPI here. The company uses Bitcoin yield as a KPI to help assess the performance of a strategy acquiring Bitcoin in a manner the company believes accredited to the shareholders. It said in a statement. The company also confirmed that its 10-to-1 stock split, announced initially July 11th, would go forward effective August 7th, 5 days out, family. So is they going to be buying more Bitcoin? Absolutely. MicroStrategy said it would file a registration form for a $2 billion at the market equity offering in a bid to raise further capital. Now, typically when he does that, he usually under promises and over delivers. So like if he says he's going to purchase, let's say 500 million, sometimes he does 800 million. So if he says he's going to purchase 2 billion, you never know. He may end up purchasing 2.5 billion, 3 billion, 3.5 billion. That's the legend of the Giga Chad. Just saying. MicroStrategy shares are currently trading at $1,500 around this time, fallen 6% August 2nd. The firm share price bounced 1% after hours trading following the release of the Q2 earnings per TradingView data. So there you go, yo. Another 2 billion incoming from MicroStrategy in the Giga Chad. Holla. But anyways, next story of the day. Here's the latest with Trump. We all know he gave a very powerful speech at the conference. He also started embracing Biddy a few weeks ago. Ironic enough, 10 days after he embraced Bitcoin publicly, there was an assassination attempt on his life. We thank God he survived, but by a crosshair. Shout out Derek Scott. Appreciate the subscription, brother. And anyone who subscribes to the pod will get an on-screen shout out. So thank you. But yeah, here's the headline. Trump made many promises to Bitcoiners. Can he keep them? And also, he was just interviewed. I saw this right before I went live. And they were asking him about the debt. And he said, maybe we'll just pay off our 35 trillion debt by handing them a little crypto check, handing them a Bitcoin. Ironic because but the people handed Trump a Bitcoin on stage in Nashville, like a physical Bitcoin, back when a physical Bitcoin was a thing. Someone flew down just to gift that to Trump. And now Trump wants to pay it forward. Hand us all a Bitcoin. I wish he could do that, but unfortunately it don't work that way. There's not enough Bitcoin to go around. But maybe if he meant send some sats to everybody, that'd be more logical, right? But anyways, kind of cool. He keeps talking about Bitcoin. He got Bitcoin on his mind, which is pretty lit. But anyways, here are some of the promises he offered from the recent speech in Nashville. He says, producing tremendous electricity. You need to double the electricity of the entire electricity. That's how we have it right now in the U.S. to dominate. And we'll get that done. Referring to bringing the Bitcoin miners home in the United States, making the United States a dominant force to be reckoned with when it comes to the Bitcoin mining. That was one of the promises. Another quote, mining all the Bitcoin in the U.S. If crypto is going to define the future, I want it to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It is going to be. It is not going to be made anywhere else, especially that China, huh? The next thing he said, which got the biggest applaud, was in the crowd, fire SEC Chairman Gensler. He said, on day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC Chairman. I do feel he has the power to do that and will do that. We all know that Gary is an enemy of Bitcoin and has been since day one, since taking over the job from, I believe, Jay Clayton, the SEC chairman that come before him. And you already know, since Gensler has taken place, he has done a lot of horrific things to our industry. He was working alongside Bankman-Fried. He had many meetings behind closed doors, and they're on the record meeting several times. So it makes you wonder what kind of shenanigans they had plotted, because I feel they were both looking to take down Bitcoin personally. Another thing is sweeping policies. He said, as president, I will immediately shut down Operation Choke Point 2.0. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and Crypto Presidential Advisory Council. I will immediately order the Treasury Department and other federal agencies to cease and desist all necessary steps for a central bank digital currency. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with Operation Choke Point 2.0, which he'll immediately shut down. We all know the heads behind this: Gary Gensler, Senator Warren, and again, Joe Biden. So if he is president, he's going to get rid of Gary and appoint someone who is pro-crypto, not looking to stifle innovation and destroy it and keep us suppressed, which is precisely what Gary Gensler has been doing, and Warren and the rest of them with Choke Point 2.0. Now, the other thing he says, he'll immediately order the Treasury Department and other federal agencies to cease and desist all necessary steps for a central bank digital currency. He promises under his administration, he will not allow the United States of America to launch launch a CBDC? We all know the NWO, New World Order plans, is central bank digital currencies, cashless society, because it's programmable money, just like we don't like, just like Bitcoin separates money from state. Well, CBDC allows the state to control your money, which is a disaster just waiting to happen. It would be like fiat, but digital fiat, which is programmable. They can set expiry dates and things like that, encouraging you to never save. Whereas Bitcoin is the ultimate savings technology. Bitcoin is the antidote to those CBDCs. Trump promises no CBDC. That's powerful. Does he have the power to stop it? Honestly, I don't know. And again, maybe he gets elected for 4 years. We have no CBDC, and he immediately gets replaced with Biden 2.0 or whomever, Kamala 2.0, and then they launch a CBDC. All I know is I don't trust the U.S. government, and I do feel they're going to launch a CBDC regardless if the president says they won't allow it. But that's just my intuition, because I've known about the evil agenda of CBDCs for a very long time, and I've been blowing the whistle on it for a very long time. But Trump promises to be against it, and so we'll see. Next, he says, commute Ross Ulbricht's sentence, quoting him here. I repeat my pledge to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to sentence of time served. We know Ross has been serving jail time, I think, since 2015. He got 2 freaking life sentences. They just unfortunately use him as an example, right, to show Bitcoiners that you don't mess with the Bitcoin or you'll be life in prison, which is completely unjust. Even freaking the biggest scammer of our generation, I think the biggest scammer of all time, Scam Bankman-Fried of FTX, is serving only 25 years in prison, and if I was to guess, is more than likely going to get pardoned by Sleepy Joe before Sleepy Joe leaves the White House. If Sleepy Joe is even still alive, it's a mystery at this point, but you get my point. I trust nothing. But anyways, him saying he'll pardon Ross, I believe that. And that's a beautiful thing, because we all want Ross to be free. And how ironic would it be and beautiful if he frees Ross Ulbricht on day one, as he promises, and then the next event, Ross gets to speak on stage, right? Maybe Trump introduces Ross, or Ross introduces Trump. How poetic would that be, family? Let me know. But anyways, those were some of the promises. There's a lot of other promises as well. Just let me know your thoughts surrounding this, and what are your thoughts on, do you think the next way the government's going to give us a stimulus, do you think it could potentially be in Bitcoin? Or do you think he is just like being a joker here? Let me know your thoughts. So let's just continue. Here's another bullish target for you guys. Headline here reads, 95,000 or 120,000 next. Bitcoin traders diverge on the next Bitcoin price top. And thank you, Serge, for asking the question. Let's discuss some of these catalysts, eh? So Bitcoin's price could be on track to the next leg up of the bull cycle, which could see the world's first crypto hit the 120,000 mark. And ironic, we do have a $126,000 target cup and handle on the 1 week chart, which I outlined to you earlier, right? And according to the technical analysis from Mikey Bull, he wrote, Bitcoin is getting ready for the next wave of rally, which will bring it to 120,000 plus level. Buckle up your safety belt. Now, however, more conservative estimates are eyeing below the 100,000 level as a potential macro top. For instance, crypto analyst Max expects Bitcoin next major milestone to be above the 95,000 mark based on technical chart patterns, as the analyst shared here. Bitcoin is still trading within a descending broadening wedge pattern. The price is consolidating near the upper resistance line. A breakout can lead to a massive upside rally. The technical target for this pattern is $95,700. Now, would you be disappointed, fam, if we moonshine to 95 G's and we don't hit 100? Let me know your thoughts. Now, contributing to the bullish sentiment, the Bitcoin new investors increased by 3% from the 57,000 level, yet new investors could increase by 50% as we reach the peak of the Bitcoin cycle, according to crypto researcher, crypto quant author Axel Adler, who shared here. From the 57,000 level, the market gained 3% new investors. That's a lot, considering that after the FTX crash, the metric increased by 4%. The main influx of newcomers will resume with the price rise, and at the peak of the cycle, it should exceed 50%. So there you have it. There's some bullish targets. Let me know. Do you think we can hit 96 G's or potentially $120,000? And by what month do you think this is the most likely scenario? Holla at your boy, family. Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin to explode by at least 975% to reach the ultimate price, says on-chain analyst Willy Woo. I'm going to be sharing with you his timeline he just recently shared. So here we go. Popular on-chain analyst Willy Woo is predicting that Bitcoin will ultimately hit a massive value for one key reason. He tells his 1.1 million followers on X that Bitcoin can capture 3% of the total wealth assets and soar more than 975% from the current value, quoting Willy Woo. Nobody knows what the ultimate price of Bitcoin will be, but simple math can give us an upper bound. All wealth assets is $500 trillion. If Bitcoin captured all of this, which is never going to happen, it'd be 24 million per coin, which is today's value before the future inflation adjustment. The question is, what will be the realistic allocation for everyone? Wealth management is very predictable, and money flows in a conservative manner according to known wisdom. Bitcoin, even in the early phase of an asset class, Fidelity recommends 1 to 3% allocation. And we have seen numbers as high as 85% from BlackRock. So if we assume 3% as a sensible allocation, then the lower bound of valuation is $700,000 per coin. So he's ultimately saying the bear scenario for the king with only a 3% allocation from the major asset managers into the biddy will take us to $700,000. If you want to calculate what an 85% allocation would do, whoa, I guess we can divide 85 by 3 and then multiply that and get an insane multi-million-dollar prediction, just FYI. Wu believes Bitcoin will hit the six-figure price target once the global adoption reaches somewhere between 16% and 50%. He says that the current Bitcoin adoption is only 4.7%. Meaning we're just getting started, quoting him here. So now everyone is asking when. This is also a well-known phenomenon via the adoption S-curve. 16% is early majority. 50% is late majority. Wealth management is somewhere in this sector. So figure out when Bitcoin adoption enters 16 to 50%, world adoption is based on the yellow line. Wu shares an adoption S-curve chart comparing the asset to the internet's adoption rate. The adoption S-curve is often used to track the cumulative rate at which people adopt breakthrough technologies. And I mean, look at that. You can see compared to the red line, which is the internet adoption, comparing to Bitcoin, which you can barely see in that red versus the yellow line, Bitcoin showing just 4.7%. We're just getting freaking started. And lastly, Wu says the Bitcoin's market cap could eventually exceed all fiat currencies and prompt investors to look for alternative, higher performing investments at that point. Quoting him again, once the price produces a market cap exceeding all the fiat in the world, you won't be interested in the ultimate price. That's a fiat mindset based on current realities. After the inflection point, you'll only be looking for investments that can beat BTC. For starters, these are companies that store their profits in BTC. Example, MicroStrategy founder and executive chairman Michael Saylor was the first publicly company CEO to figure this out, but a lot more coming. And here's the actual tweet that he shared. I want to read this actually out loud to you verbatim because this is word for word what he shared just the other day. Nobody knows what the ultimate price of Bitcoin will be, but simple math gives us the upper bound. All wealth assets, 500 trillion. So if Bitcoin captured all of this, which is never going to happen, it'd be 24 million per coin. Today's value before the future inflation adjustment. The question is, what will be the realistic allocation for everyone? Personally, I think 3% is very conservative. So that's a basis, what he is sharing here. Wealth management is very predictable and the money flows in a conservative manner according to known wisdom. Bitcoin, even in this early phase of an asset class, Fidelity recommends 1 to 3% allocation, while we have seen numbers as high as 84.9% from BlackRock. And I have covered this multiple times. That would take the Bitcoin price well beyond 10 million per coin. FYI, it may even take Bitcoin as high as 100 million per biddy, which means if you hold 10 Bitcoin, you may become a billionaire someday, if hypothetically that were to play out. But I digress. If we assume 3% as a sensible allocation, and I note that was the number we used to share back in 2014, then the lower bound of the valuation is $700,000 per biddy. Price target range, 700,000 lower bound, 24 million maximum bound. That's if everything went into Bitcoin, which clearly it probably more than likely never would. And that's in today's inflation adjusted numbers. Then he shared a little more insights here, as I shared regarding the Bitcoin adoption S-curve. Now everyone's asking when, the $1 million question, right? There's also a well-known phenomena via the adoption S-curve. 16% is early majority, 50% late majority. Wealth management is somewhere in the sector. So figure out when Bitcoin adoption enters the 16 to 50% world adoption based on this yellow line. So you already know, fam. And I think he also shared another post here. Once the price produces a market cap exceeding all the fiat in the world, you won't be interested in that 700,000 ultimate price. That's the fiat mindset based on the current realities. After this inflection point, also known as the tipping point, you'll only be looking for investments that can beat the biddy. For starters, these are companies that store their profits in the biddy. Saylor was the first publicly, CEO to figure this out, but a lot more coming. So there you have it, yo. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Willy Woo, and do you think the world will eventually put at least 3% of all the total assets in the world, total, I guess we call that total addressable market. Do you see that happening? 3%. And again, 3% will take us close to $1 million. Let me know your thoughts, and welcome, family, to the Q&A segment of the live show.